Ranging this morning. I'm going to be wide ranging, and if you want to jump in and when I raise something, just do it now. Baby Yoda came out. There's a lovely young woman who works in customer service at City Hall, and they've been taking all the COVID calls for the last almost 2 years now, and it's not easy. It's difficult. So she brought in Baby Yoda. She's a big fan, and dresses them up in Blue Jays outfits, Leaf outfits, and she lends them to me. And in fact, we're into negotiations on a custody agreement. But what it did was it lightened people's darkness. And the same with the social media. I looked at for 3 months. I did a test run watching other politicians' social media, and boring. I did this, I did that. I was over here. Look what I did today. And yeah, I do stuff like I go for a walk, but you hardly see me in the pictures. I try to find good things in the community. Today I did a Baby Yoda post, but I also did a post about a woman who took her own life a couple of weeks ago named Marg Stewart. And Tara Jeffries from the Journal has done a very lovely story about her. And didn't know her, but I know her friends who were devastated. So I try to keep that mix there. I don't try to politicize it. I do want to say a couple things. Alan mentioned about the Queen's Platinum anniversary. The city will have an event on June the 4th at the Gardens at Germain Park, a tea or something of that nature, so people can come by. And we're lending them the picture the Queen gave to the city in 1959 when she came here. Plus we have the pen and the book she signed when she came here. And so we're going to make it, because I think the royal family is going to have some real difficulties after her passing, but there is no one that questions her dedication. So I think that's important. I loved, Steve, that introduction, the Irish lullaby. My late parents used to always tell me, and it's kept me going in the last 2 years, a good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything. And maybe a Guinness now and then, I think. But it's what we need. And I will say this, I'm doing this from my home. This was not the plan. I was advised I should not go to City Hall today. There's a very significant protest going on starting at noon. There's significant protests throughout the city with tractors and trucks taking place after 12 o'clock. And it just wasn't wise. And I feel like I'm living in Ottawa, that I can't go to my workplace because of security concerns. And that bothers me a great deal when I look at the rhetoric and what's been happening in those different demonstrations. So that's why I'm at home today, at least for a while, to do this. A lot of things going on in the community. You'd be surprised. 2 years ago, I signed the emergency order, which really didn't have much impact on you, but that order is still in place. It allowed us to move our staff around and to do certain things that took away, we could deal with the COVID crisis. But never did we think, never. I figured a month, some masking, some vaccines, and we'll run away again. And I think as human beings, the biggest struggle is we can't believe with our sophistication, our research and development, that we couldn't conquer this quickly. And it's been very difficult to deal with. We've been running 2 cities, the day-to-day city with our police and our fire and transit and all the other services, plus the COVID city. And so let me just talk about that. A couple of big issues. Line 5 is a huge issue for this community. Continue to work with the federal government directly to keep that line alive, because it would cost 5,000 jobs here, it's believed, if it closed. And at the same time, there's a wake-up call here, I hope, to the community about the future of the petrochemical sector. And later this year, hopefully sooner than later, depending on COVID, Council has supported me unanimously on having an economic and energy environmental summit. We need to have a big debate in the community. And already I've heard from First Nations, big industries, okay, what's our future? And Alan had sent in a question about where do you see the city in 30, 50 years? Flashing back in 1989, when I was a year as mayor, the Free Press asked me a list of questions. And they asked, what did I want to see? And it was along the lines of that question. And in 1989, I said, I want to see a research park. I want to see a research park, because some of you who may have been connected in history know we were losing our R&D, which is your future. And we do have a research park. And it and its sister park in London have been judged out of 700 research parks as the best in North America. That's amazing. There's 2,500 people working there. A lot of the projects you're seeing that are going into the valley that are green are coming from the college and the research park together. And it is very much our future. I hope we continue on the trend. We need diversity. We need to continue to move away from the main sector, petrochemical, and to use that sector to burst into other sectors. And a really good example, I've been promoting this for years. We tried it 10 years ago. We couldn't make it work financially. It's hydrogen. We make hydrogen in Sarnia. And now the federal government, the Alberta government are all jumping on and the Ontario government, the hydrogen bandwagon. And we do think there's some real opportunities for us there. And I've had pushback from people who say, well, we got to fight Trudeau and whoever on the climate change issue. We've got to fight these regulations. They're going to cost a lot of jobs here. That battle is already lost. And you can either lead or you can react. And I've had such enthusiasm from the industry, and all of you are welcome to attend this summit, probably, I'm thinking May or June. It's open to everyone. And again, we're getting some great ideas. And the big companies want to step up and they want to explain. I've heard from Enbridge and I've heard from Imperial Oil about all the things they're doing. They're not telling the community environmentally and all the strategies they have to move away from fossil fuels. So that's pretty exciting. Tomorrow at Council, you will see, unfortunately, I'll get distracted by some other issues going on, but the person who's put the growth study together for us, this is a huge issue, which is hard, and the public will get their say in March. It's really saying, this is what this community is today, residentially, industrially, commercially. And there's a real push from some in the development community to expand. There's an urban boundary. Out in Brights Grove, this side of the lakeshore, you can develop, the other side you can't. Research park lands, farmland east of Modlin. There are people that purchase land there. They're pushing hard to have that made into subdivisions. So that's a big debate for the community. And the consultant is saying, basically, you've got all the land you need in Heritage Park, around the 3 schools, in the Brights Grove area already, and with infilling. And a really good example is the former Sarnia General Hospital site. If you look at that site, and now we have $400,000 homes sitting there and being built and more things happening there. And if you look at what we just did as a council, I was really pleased with council about 2 weeks ago, a very contentious hearing. The former Greek church, the Greek church on Murphy Road, we approved a 48 affordable housing building. Not well received by the neighborhood, but traditionally I hear all the feedback and I listen to it. But usually those fears disappear, whether it be the Women's Interval Home or the Inn of the Good Shepherd. The fears are not fears. My dad, when they were putting the Inn of the Good Shepherd lodge behind our house on Bennett Street, said people fear things they don't understand. And that to me is a huge step forward, that we're putting affordable housing into the northern part of the city. And I expect there'll be an appeal, and I expect that'll be a long thing. But however, there's other great things happening. And I would invite you, we have a waterfront plan we unveiled a few weeks ago. Huge public input despite COVID. And in fact, we're getting more public input in the COVID era, thanks to social media, than we got when we used to call a meeting at City Hall and 6 people show up. It's going very well in that respect. That waterfront plan is $50 million. It's over 15 years. It's very doable. You know, outside my door here, they're talking about a small market. There are pods all the way down there, a new building at the marina, an outdoor skating track, a lot of really good, exciting items that are doable over 15 years, involving the private sector, involving the city and the federal and provincial governments. And I just learned that they're doing a presentation on Tuesday to Seaway Kiwanis. And that presentation is going to be put in a form that can be done to other groups if you're interested. And I think it's very exciting. We're also looking at a new community center that would have indoor facilities for soccer and baseball. These are big ticket items, so we're not all the way there yet, at least in my view. And the location, anyone that was around, we went through the sports complex debate, is that location is usually a bigger issue than the financing. And that's going to be, and I think probably, it's either going to be Homeless Foundry if the village is interested, or it's going to be probably in Germain Park. Lots of other things happening on Tuesday. We've been working for 2 years. Judy Morris, who you may know from the college, and Alex Palamaco from Blue Water Power. We recognized some time ago, we need more people. We need more immigrants. And even though our growth, this growth study shows we're going to have an upswing of 12,000 new people in the next couple of decades, we need more. And the key to doing that is building on what the college has done with international students. Those students, and yes, we've had some abrupt couple of years there, but the college is still a leader in international students. And the big difference is now, instead of going, and many of them come in with a degree already, but what they're looking for is a degree that will actually get them employment. And now they can stay, they can apply from within Canada. So the college is looking at 2% growth. We're looking in the community at about 2% growth. Judy's going to unveil all those plans on Tuesday. And we put together a really dynamic, small group of people who are all doers. They don't want to sit around and debate this issue. And if you look at the history of this community, it was built by immigrants. You know, I'm a immigrant, and I see many on this call whose parents or that they themselves were immigrants. And if you look at what happened in this community after the Second World War, there were waves, the Dutch, the Polish, the Italians, who helped build this community. And we see selective immigration into this community is our future. We need it. The birth rate is not working anywhere in Canada for growth. So you need to bring in new people, and these will be high qualified immigrants with well-educated that would be part of our community. And then the key is to retain them. That's the key. Lots of other things going on. We're working with the developer at who's purchased skits. There's record real estate sales, record building permits. And I just want to mention those two things, but there's also record homeless numbers. There's also record addiction issues. And very pleased the other day with finally, after years and years and years, that we've moved forward with more beds to help people with addictions. And there will be a further debate coming on the nature of that service and how it happens. But just all these years, and it didn't make any sense. The lives saved, the pressure off the hospital system is huge. And in this case, it's a $12 million project. So that was a big announcement after a long time. And it was eminent for about 10 years from different governments. So that helps. Homelessness is a huge issue. And the unfortunate part, and this is not a cop-out, the city's not responsible for housing the addiction issue by governments. In other words, all the money that comes in goes to the county for the homeless. All the money that comes in for addiction issues goes to the hospital or to the county. So we have limited control on that spending. And there's days I wish we had more control because we're the ones in the dense area here, Point Edward and Sarnia, that, because of our size and our people and our population, see the consequences. And I sometimes have frustration with trying to get the county to understand what's actually happening on the ground here. The good news is the homeless numbers are going down, but I'm really worried on the addiction issue. That COVID has hidden the depth of that issue. And I see Margaret Capes is on the call, and we've had a couple of really good discussions in the last few weeks about the announcement, about a safe injection site, about mobile services into the community to help those with addictions. And that is really, really important. And we do have a good relationship with the county, I should say that, but it's just, we don't have the control I would like as mayor of the city. So, again, what I've tried to do, and going back to about the Facebook page and naturally we have issues. And Alan, you did ask the question about what do I see in 30 to 50 years? I see a community that's moved basically away from this fossil fuel industry. I hope is diverse and culturally sensitive and a much larger population, but not too large. I deal with mayors, in Ottawa and Mississauga and Brampton. They've all had the conversions. They do not want more growth that is just sprawling. And that's going to be the big date at City Hall on Tuesday or Monday, is that we have developers and realtors that just want to pave all the way from Modeland to Mondawmin. And yet we have 150 farms in this community. And that is a great thing environmentally, and it's good for the community. So there's what I'm trying to say is this year, there's some really big debates coming up, and it's really important we continue to have that public engagement. And the Waterfront Plan is a really good example. You said to us, we love the waterfront. We don't want it overly commercialized, but we do want some commercialization. We'd like to sit down there. We'd like to go year round. And I mean, I'm looking out my window. I've lived on the waterfront here for over 3 decades. And we just want to take it to a higher level, but we don't want to spoil it. We don't want Ferris wheels. We don't want casinos, but we do want active things we can do there year round. And that's what that plan is about. So, again, I just ask you to keep in mind, which I think by the nature of joining the fellowship, you already know, which is to have hope, to have optimism, and have compassion. And with that, I thank you, and I'm really pleased to take any questions. And if you want to